I think the most important point, first of all, is that the protest never stopped.
Nej.
Attention towards the protest stopped. And so since 2011, almost every day there's been protests in Bahrain. Because a lot of people ask me, well, are people going to start protesting again, or did the revolution end? And it didn't. It's just that international media attention towards the situation.
But is it as big as those that you read about? No.
Now there are, from time to time, we do have hundreds of thousands of people going out in a protest. But those are very rare, and they happen every couple of months when the government allows it. But we have protests every day, and they said that, they vary because it's in different areas, different numbers. But the thing is within 5 minutes of people gathering, they get attacked by security forces. And so it's just not possible, physically not possible for people to actually protest the way they did in 2011. The government has so much control. It's basically a police state, but the government has so much control over public space. And they use such violence and excessive use of force against people who protest that it's almost impossible to actually protest in large numbers. And then, of course, what comes with it? There's always a chance that if you're caught on the streets, even if you're not in a protest, if you're just caught on the streets, you can be beaten, you can be harassed, you can be threatened, you can be arrested, you can be tortured, and sometimes even killed. And so there's so much, or the government, basically in Bahrain, it's, in a sense, it's also difficult to compare to the other situations because to some extent, in Egypt, for example, there is a crackdown, but to some extent, you still have space to breathe. You know, there's a crackdown, but you still have space to breathe. In Bahrain, it's suffocating. You don't have that space to breathe. You don't have that space to protest. You don't have that space to speak out. And a big part of it is because of the international reaction towards the situation inside Bahrain. For example, how many Scandinavians actually know that there are 3 Scandinavian citizens sitting in prison in Bahrain? 1 Swedish and 2 Danish. And 2 of them have been severely tortured, and 2 of them have been sentenced to life. And the 3rd is serving multiple prison sentences. But you have 1 American citizen arrested in Iran, and the entire world will know about it. You have 3 citizens severely tortured, 2 of them severely tortured, put in prison in Bahrain. Most Scandinavians don't even know about it, let alone in the EU. And there isn't a huge, campaign to try and get them out. Denmark tried. Sweden, as far as I know, did not for their citizen. So there is such a massive amount of double standards towards human rights, especially in the countries that say that human rights and democracy are the cornerstone of their foreign policy.
But is it ignorance or money or both?
I don't think it's ignorance.
No.
Not at all. With Bahrain, there's so much information that there's no way that it can be ignorance.
No.
Because even, for example, being on Twitter, you can get a minute-by-minute update of what's happening on the ground. So there's no way that it's ignorance. And the amount of intelligence that, for example, the US and the UK have in Bahrain, they know what's happening. It's a choice to turn the other way and to, have a blind eye and a deaf ear to the situation. It's not ignorance at all. So one of the things that we're